I always thought betrayal would be obvious. I figured if it ever happened to me, I would know. I would catch the smell of another man's cologne. I would notice the nervous looks, the hidden messages, the sudden need for space and privacy. I thought the signs would be right there in front of me, clear as day. I was wrong. My name is Ethan, and for 5 years I honestly believed I had the kind of marriage other people looked at and wished they had. Madison and I were not some perfect couple from a movie, but we were good together. At least, that was what I believed. We were a team. I worked in logistics, managing supply chains for a mid-sized distribution company. Madison worked in marketing, and she was doing well for herself at a tech company downtown. She was ambitious, smart, and always pushing for the next step. We had plans for the future. Kids someday. Maybe a bigger house. Maybe vacations to those beautiful places we had only seen in magazines or online. We talked about all of it like it was just a matter of time. I thought we were building a life together, or maybe I was the only one still building. The first real crack showed up about 6 months ago, but back then, I did not understand what it was. Madison started staying late at work. Not once in a while. Not just during a busy week. It became normal. Monday nights turned into Tuesday nights. Then Tuesday nights turned into entire weeks where I would eat dinner by myself, go to sleep by myself, and wake up to find her side of the bed untouched, because according to her, she had fallen asleep on the couch at the office. That was what she told me anyway. Her texts usually came around 7 in the evening. Big project, babe. Don't wait up. Then another night, another excuse. Boss needs this done by morning. Overtime pays well. And then came the words I kept repeating to myself. For our future. For our future. I held on to that phrase harder than I should have. Because if she was doing it for us, then maybe the distance between us did not mean anything. Maybe the lonely dinners, the canceled weekend plans, and the fact that we had not been intimate in more than a month were all just part of some temporary sacrifice. If it was all leading to a better life, then I could handle it. That was what I told myself. But after a while, other things started changing too. Small things at first. Easy things to explain away. Madison began dressing differently for work. Her outfits got sharper and more polished. New blazers, tighter skirts, heels I had never seen before. She started wearing more makeup to the office too, and not just a little lipstick like before. Now it was the full routine. Contoured cheeks, smoky eyes, smooth foundation that made her skin look almost airbrushed. And then there was the perfume. It was not the soft floral scent she used to wear. This one was heavier, warmer, more seductive. The kind of scent that stayed in the room even after she left. When I asked her about it, she just laughed like I was being silly. I'm representing the company at client meetings now, she said, waving it off like it meant nothing. I have to look professional, really professional. Right. Meanwhile, the distance between us kept growing. Whenever I tried to get close to her, she pulled away. If I put my hand on her waist while we were standing in the kitchen, she shifted out of reach. If I kissed her a little longer than usual, she ended it quickly. I'm exhausted, Ethan, she would say, turning her face away from me. Another time it was, I have an early meeting. Some nights she would give me a soft little smile and say, Can we just cuddle tonight? But we did not cuddle. She would turn onto her side with her back facing me, and a few minutes later, I would see the glow of her phone under the covers. Her fingers would move across the screen, typing messages she never showed me. After that, I started paying more attention to her phone. She smiled at texts, but angled the screen away from me. She took calls in the other room, lowering her voice until I could not make out what she was saying. And if I walked in while she was talking, she ended the call fast. Gotta go. Talk later, she would say into the phone. Then she would look up at me with that same bright smile. Open, sweet, completely fake. Just work stuff, she would add. I was not stupid. I had heard enough stories. I knew the signs. I had seen enough movies and read enough horror stories online to understand what a cheating spouse looked like, but saying it out loud felt impossible. Confronting her felt like admitting I had already lost. Like the second I accused her, our marriage would become something broken beyond repair. So I kept my mouth shut. I watched. I waited. And every day I hated myself a little more for doing it. Then one night, after she left for another one of her late projects, I sat alone in the dark living room and made up my mind. I was not going to ask Madison if she was cheating. I was not going to beg her to tell me the truth. I was not going to plead with her to be honest. I was done waiting for answers from someone who had already learned how to lie to my face. I was going to find the truth myself. And if she was betraying me, if she really was throwing away everything we had built, then I was not just going to walk out quietly. I was going to make sure she understood exactly what she had destroyed. I opened my laptop and searched for GPS trackers. It did not take long to find one with good reviews. Small, discreet, magnetic mount, real-time tracking, 2-day shipping. I ordered it without hesitating. No crying, no yelling, no dramatic breakdown. Just a cold, steady decision. The package was scheduled to arrive on Thursday. The tracker came in a plain brown box on Thursday afternoon, exactly when it was supposed to. It was small and black, about the size of a matchbox, with a powerful magnet attached to one side. During my lunch break, I sat there holding it in my hand, feeling its weight and thinking through the best place to put it. Somewhere underneath the car. Near the rear wheel well, maybe. A spot she would never have a reason to check. That evening, Madison was in the shower, getting ready for another one of her so-called overtime shifts. While the water was running upstairs, I slipped outside. The sun was going down, and long shadows stretched across the driveway. Everything around me looked calm and ordinary, but I felt like I was standing at the edge of something I could not come back from. Still, my hands were steady. I crouched beside her sedan, reached under the car, and pressed the tracker firmly against the undercarriage. The magnet caught right away with a soft little click. That was it. I stood up, wiped my hands on my jeans, and walked back into the house like nothing had happened. Madison left at 6:40 that evening. She kissed me on the cheek before she walked out. It was quick, light, automatic. The kind of kiss you give someone you live with, not someone you love. "Don't wait up, babe," she said as she grabbed her purse. "This one is going to be a long night." I forced a normal smile. "Good luck," I told her. "I'll save you some dinner." As soon as her car turned the corner and disappeared from view, I pulled out my phone and opened the tracking app. A small blue dot appeared on the map. It was moving through our neighborhood. I watched it travel street by street, heading in the direction of downtown, toward the area where her office was. For a few minutes, I actually felt ashamed of myself. I felt paranoid, stupid even. Maybe I had been wrong. Maybe she really had been working late all this time. But then the dot turned left when it should have turned right. It moved away from her office. It headed toward the suburbs on the east side of town. My stomach sank. I waited 10 minutes just to be sure. The dot finally stopped on a residential street I did not recognize. I grabbed my keys and left. The whole drive there, my heart was pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat. But my hands still did not shake. I was locked in. My mind was narrowed down to one thing. I had to see it for myself. I had to know. About 15 minutes later, I turned onto the street where the tracker had stopped. Her car was sitting in a driveway. The house looked completely normal. A modest single-family home, clean lawn, porch light on, quiet neighborhood. There was nothing strange about it. And that somehow made it worse. I parked a block away and walked back on foot, staying close to the shadows. The front blinds were not fully closed. There was a small gap, just enough to see inside. Warm yellow light filled the room. I moved closer, breathing carefully, my pulse pounding so loudly in my ears that it felt like the whole street should have been able to hear it. Then I saw her, Madison, in the bedroom, with a man. She was with him in a way I had not seen from her in months, maybe even longer than that. Her hair was loose around her shoulders, and her face had a kind of life in it that she had not shown me in a long time. The man was older than me, probably in his mid-40s, fit, gray at the temples, and I knew him. I had seen him once before when I picked Madison up from work, her manager, the man she had mentioned so casually. "Oh, Brandon," she had said back then, like he was nobody important. "He's harmless, just my boss." Harmless. I stood there frozen, staring through that window like I was watching a scene from someone else's life. Clothes were scattered on the floor, his hands were on her mouth was on his, and the way she moved with him looked urgent, hungry, and alive. I could not look away. I could barely breathe. My first instinct was violence. I wanted to kick the door open. I wanted to drag him out by the throat and make him bleed. I wanted to scream at her, demand answers, and destroy everything in that room. But then something inside me stopped. A calm voice in my head cut through the rage. "Don't. Not yet. If you do this now, you lose. You become the crazy husband. You get arrested." She cries. He plays innocent. She becomes the victim. Think. So I turned around and walked back to my car. My legs felt strange, like they belonged to someone else. When I got into the driver's seat, I gripped the steering wheel with both hands and forced myself to breathe. In, out, in, out. My chest felt tight. My vision blurred at the edges, but I did not cry. I did not scream. I did not fall apart. Instead, I took out my phone, opened the Notes app, and started typing. Evidence, timeline, names, dates, locations. I needed proof. I needed leverage. And more than anything, I needed Madison to understand exactly what she had made me feel in that moment. Not just guilt, not just regret, humiliation, public humiliation, the kind that could not be taken back. I drove home, poured myself a heavy glass of whiskey, and sat down at my laptop. I started researching everything: live streaming platforms, screen recording software, WhatsApp group settings, cloud storage for video evidence, anything that could help me collect the truth and make sure it could not be buried. I was not finished. I was only getting started. For the next 2 weeks, I became a ghost inside my own life. I smiled at Madison over breakfast. I asked her about her day. I kissed her goodbye in the mornings like nothing had changed, and she believed it. Every lie, every little performance, she accepted without question. Why wouldn't she? As far as she could tell, I was still the same clueless husband she had been fooling for months. I played the part perfectly. But behind that calm face, I was putting together a case so clean and detailed that any prosecutor would have been proud of it. Every time she left for another night of overtime, I tracked her. Same house, same window of time, usually sometime between 7 and 10 at night. I recorded everything. I took screenshots of the GPS data, always with timestamps. Then I compared those times with her work calendar, the same calendar she had synced to our shared Google account. That was her mistake. A stupid one. I also found an old tablet we barely used anymore and installed a hidden camera app on it. Then I set it up on my dashboard and used it to record her car pulling into Brandon's driveway. I recorded her getting out, walking to the door, going inside, and staying there for hours. There was no explaining that away. No misunderstanding. No innocent version. I also went to her company's website and looked up Brandon Walker. There he was, listed as the Senior Director of Marketing. Her boss. Married. 2 kids. His LinkedIn profile was full of family pictures. Him smiling beside his wife, Rebecca. Blonde, pretty, happy-looking. Their daughters were in some of the photos, too, standing with them on a beach somewhere bright and sunny. I wondered if Rebecca had any idea. I wondered if she would thank me when all of this was over. But proof alone was not enough for me. I did not just want evidence. I wanted impact. I wanted the people Madison cared about most, the people who thought she was sweet and loyal and incapable of doing anything truly ugly, to see who she really was. No carefully prepared explanation, no tears, no excuses, just the truth, happening right in front of them. Madison's family was close, very close. Her parents, Patricia and Michael, were old-fashioned Catholics. They still went to Sunday Mass, still believed marriage was sacred, and still looked at Madison like she could do no wrong. Her younger sister, Vanessa, looked up to her like Madison had everything figured out. Her older brother, Walter, was protective in the rough way some older brothers are. He was the kind of man who would swing first and ask questions later. All of them believed I was lucky to have Madison. To them, I was the guy who had somehow married their perfect daughter, perfect sister, perfect niece. I was about to destroy that picture. I created a WhatsApp group, but I did not send the invite yet. I named it Family Emergency. It was vague enough to make people pay attention immediately. Then I added everyone: Patricia, Michael, Walter, Vanessa, her two closest cousins, even her favorite aunt. 14 people in total. I wrote the message ahead of time. I need you all to see something. I'm sorry, but this is the truth. Then I stopped. I did not send it. Not yet. I was waiting for the right moment. I also tested several live streaming platforms. I made a burner account and streamed my own living room just to make sure everything worked. I checked the video quality, I tested the audio, I made sure the link appeared instantly once the stream went live. I practiced the timing over and over. Start the stream, create the group, drop the link, wait. I even thought through what I would say if anyone started texting me while it was happening. I would keep it simple, calm, factual. Watch the video, you'll understand. That was it. No rage, no emotional breakdown, no long explanation, just the truth, cold and impossible to deny. The last thing I needed was the right night. I could not do it on some random Tuesday. It had to happen when Madison felt safe, when she believed I still had no idea, when she was relaxed enough to let her guard drop completely. So I waited. I studied her routine. And then the opportunity finally came. It was a Friday night, 3 weeks after I had first caught her. Madison told me she had another late project and probably would not be home until 11. She even had the nerve to apologize. "I'm so sorry, babe," she said, gently touching my arm. "I know it's been a lot lately. I promise things will slow down soon." I smiled at her like a fool. "It's okay," I said. "I'll be here when you get back." She kissed me. Another empty kiss, another meaningless little act. Then she left at 6:30. I waited 20 minutes to make sure she had time to get settled at Brandon's house. Then I grabbed my phone, got into my car, and drove. I parked down the street from his place, close enough to see the bedroom window, but far enough away that I would not be noticed. The lights were on, the blinds were partly open, just like every other time. I opened the live streaming app and aimed my phone toward the window. Then I adjusted the zoom until the room came into focus. I could see them, Madison and Brandon, kissing, undressing, moving around each other with the same sickening familiarity I had seen before. I took one slow breath. Then I hit start stream. 8:47 p.m., showtime. The video was a little grainy, but it was clear enough. The camera had a clean view of the bedroom window. Inside, 2 figures moved against the warm light, and even from where I sat, there was no mistaking what was happening. I adjusted the zoom a little, just enough to bring their faces into clearer focus. Madison, Brandon, together. Her hands were in his hair. His hands were on her waist. They were kissing like this was normal, like this was their routine, like my marriage was just some inconvenience waiting outside in the dark. The audio was not perfect, but it caught enough. Faint laughter, the sound of movement, then a low sound from inside that made my stomach twist so hard I thought I might be sick. For a few seconds I just stared at my phone screen. My thumb hovered over the WhatsApp icon. This was the moment. The point of no return. Once I sent that link, there would be no undoing it, no taking it back, no soft version of the truth, no chance for Madison to explain things before anyone saw them. Good. I opened WhatsApp and created the group. Then I added everyone I had already prepared. Patricia, Michael, Walter, Vanessa, the cousins, her aunt. 14 people in total. I typed the message exactly the way I had planned it. I need you all to see something. I'm sorry, but this is the truth. Then I pasted the live stream link, and I hit send. 8:51 p.m. For a few seconds, nothing happened. Then the group chat exploded. Vanessa was the first to respond. "What is this?" Patricia came next. "Ethan, what's going on? What am I looking at?" Then Walter. "Is that Madison?" I did not answer. I just watched as the messages started coming in faster and faster. Michael wrote in all caps, "Stop this! Stop this right now!" Her Aunt Denise typed almost immediately after, "Oh my God! Oh my God! Is this real?" Then her cousin Lauren, "I'm going to be sick." After that, the chat became chaos. Questions, denial, anger, shock. Patricia was calling Madison. Walter was calling Madison. Vanessa was calling me. My phone buzzed over and over in my hand, but I silenced every call. I kept the stream running. On the screen, Madison's phone lit up on the nightstand. Once, then again, then again. At first, she ignored it. She was too caught up in what she was doing to care. But the buzzing did not stop. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Finally, she froze. Confused, she reached for the phone. I watched through the window, and at the same time, I watched the messages in the group chat pour in. It was like seeing her entire life collapse in two places at once. She unlocked her phone. Then her face changed. All the color drained out of it. She sat up fast, pulling the blanket over herself while she stared at the screen like it had just told her everything was over. Brandon asked her what was wrong. His voice was muffled through the glass, but I could see the panic starting to hit him too. Madison did not answer him. She just kept scrolling, reading. Her mouth hung open. Her hands were shaking. The group chat had turned into a battlefield. Walter typed, "Where the hell are you right now?" Michael's message was short and cold. "You've disgraced this family." Then Patricia sent a message in all caps. "How could you do this to Ethan?" Vanessa's text came in right after that, desperate and broken. "Maddie, please tell me this isn't real. Please." A few seconds later, Madison finally answered Vanessa's call. I could not hear what was being said, but I could see Madison pacing around the room. She was waving one hand in the air, the other pressed against her forehead. Brandon was getting dressed now. He looked scared. He kept asking her questions, but she did not seem to be answering any of them. She just shook her head again and again while tears ran down her face. The messages kept coming. Her cousin Nathan wrote, "You always acted so high and mighty." Then he added, "Guess we know who you really are now." Aunt Denise wrote, "I can't believe I defended you. I feel sick." Then Patricia sent another message. "I'm heartbroken. How could you do this? How could you throw away a good man like Ethan?" Michael's last message was the coldest one of all. "Don't come home. You're not welcome in this family anymore." By then, Madison was sobbing, not quiet crying, full-body sobs that shook her shoulders. Brandon tried to calm her down, but she pushed him away. Then she grabbed her clothes from the floor and started getting dressed with trembling hands, her phone still clenched in one fist. I ended the stream at 9:14 p.m., 23 minutes of footage, more than enough. Then I took screenshots of the group chat. There were already more than 200 messages. Most of them condemned her. Some cursed her out. A few from Patricia were nothing but the same words repeated over and over. "I'm heartbroken." I saved everything to the cloud. Then I drove home. I did not speed. I did not turn on music. I just drove through the dark with my hands steady on the wheel, my jaw tight, and my mind strangely calm. By the time I pulled into the driveway, I had 47 missed calls. I ignored every single one. I went inside, locked the door behind me, and started gathering Madison's things. Clothes, shoes, toiletries, makeup. Anything that belonged to her went straight into black trash bags. I did not rush. I moved through the house one room at a time, calm and organized, like I was cleaning out a closet instead of tearing the last pieces of my marriage out of my home. By the time I was done, there was nothing left inside that felt like hers. I carried the bags out to the front lawn and set them down in a neat pile. 7 bags total. Then I changed the locks. It took me about 40 minutes. When I finished, it was 11:03 p.m. At 11:41, Madison's car pulled into the driveway. I watched from the window. She got out slowly, like every step took effort. Then she saw the trash bags on the lawn and stopped. For a while, she just stood there staring at them. Under the streetlight, her face looked pale and empty. Then she walked up to the door and tried her key. It did not work. She tried again. Nothing. A few seconds later, she started pounding on the door. "Ethan! Ethan, open the door! Let me explain!" she shouted, her voice already breaking. I did not move. "Please!" she screamed. "I'm sorry! I'm so sorry! Just let me in! We can fix this!" I opened the door only a few inches, just enough to look her in the eyes. My voice was calm, flat, empty. "There's nothing to fix," I told her. "You're done. Take your things and leave." She tried to push her way inside, but I blocked her. "Ethan, please," she said desperately. I cut her off. "No, you do not get to talk. You do not get to cry your way out of this. You made your choice. Now you get to live with it." Then I closed the door. She stayed outside screaming. She pounded on the wood, begged, sobbed, and kept saying my name like that was supposed to mean something now. "You ruined my life," she cried through the door. "You humiliated me in front of everyone. How could you do this?" I walked away. I did not answer. I did not look back. Eventually, the pounding stopped. Then I heard her car start. A few moments later, she drove away. I sat on the couch in the dark, staring at nothing. And somehow, the silence in that house felt louder than anything she had shouted through the door. The next 72 hours were chaos, but I stayed calm in the middle of it. Madison tried everything: texts, calls, emails. One message said, "Ethan, please, we need to talk. I made a mistake. I can change. Please don't do this." I blocked her everywhere: phone, social media, email. I did not want her explanations. I did not want her apologies. I wanted her out of my life. Her family started reaching out too. Patricia called me the next morning on Saturday, crying so hard she could barely get the words out. "Ethan, I'm so sorry," she sobbed into the phone. "I had no idea. She's not who I thought she was." Then her voice broke completely. "You deserved better. You deserved so much better." I thanked her for calling, but I also made myself clear. "I appreciate that, Patricia," I said quietly. "But I can't stay in this marriage. I'm filing for divorce." "I understand," she whispered. "I'm sorry for all of it." Later that day, Michael sent me a text. It was short and direct. "You were a good husband. She threw it away. That's on her." Walter messaged me on Sunday. His message was surprisingly supportive. "You did the right thing, man. I can't believe she did that to you. If you need anything, a place to crash, someone to talk to, I'm here." Even Vanessa, who had tried to defend Madison at first, stopped arguing once I sent her everything. The GPS logs, the timestamps, the video clips, the screenshots of Madison's lies. Hours later, Vanessa replied with only 3 words: "I'm so sorry." Madison, meanwhile, was falling apart. She moved in with a friend for a while, but the story spread fast. The live stream link did not stay inside the family group. Somebody shared it. Maybe Walter. Maybe one of the cousins. I never knew for sure. But soon, people at her job knew too. Then HR got involved. Madison and Brandon were both placed on administrative leave, which is just corporate language for, "We are preparing to fire you." Brandon's wife, Rebecca, found out within 48 hours. I do not know who told her. Maybe someone from Madison's family. Maybe someone from their office. But she found out, and she filed for divorce immediately. She took the kids. She took the house. She took everything she could. Brandon tried contacting me on Tuesday, 3 days after the live stream. His email was pathetic. He offered money. He begged me not to make things worse. I did not respond. A week later, he quit his job and moved 2 states away. Rebecca would not let him see the kids. His reputation was ruined, and everyone knew exactly why. He was finished. Madison's parents cut her off too. Michael told her not to come to family gatherings anymore. Patricia stopped answering her calls. Walter wanted nothing to do with her. Vanessa struggled with it at first, but in the end, she sided with the family. Madison was pushed out, cut off, alone. She tried reaching out to mutual friends, but I had already told them the truth. I had already shown them the evidence. No one wanted to get involved. No one wanted to stand beside her. I moved forward with the divorce. I hired a lawyer on Monday and filed the papers on Wednesday. The video, the GPS logs, and the messages all became part of the evidence. In our state, adultery can affect how assets are divided. Madison's lawyer tried to negotiate, but there was nothing for them to work with. My evidence was too strong. She had no leverage, no real defense, no way to twist the story. 4 months later, in early March, the divorce was finalized. She got nothing, no alimony, no part of my retirement, no claim to the house, which had already been in my name before we ever got married. She signed the papers without a fight. By then, she had already lost everything else. I did not celebrate after that. I did not sit around smiling about what happened. I did not brag. I did not feel some big rush of victory. I just kept going. I went to work. I came home. I went to the gym. I watched TV. I went to bed. Then I got up the next morning and did it all again. Friends checked in on me from time to time. "You doing okay, man?" they would ask. "I'm fine," I would tell them. And in a strange way, I was. I was not happy. But I was not destroyed either. Mostly, I just felt numb. One Saturday afternoon in April, about 2 months after the divorce became final, I was sitting alone in my backyard with a beer in my hand, staring up at the sky. My phone buzzed on the table beside me. It was a text from Vanessa. "She's in bad shape. Just thought you should know." I read it once, then I deleted it. I did not respond. I just took another sip of beer. Madison's collapse was not my responsibility. She had made her own decisions. She had lied. She had cheated. She had broken our marriage and destroyed the life we were supposed to be building together. And when the consequences finally caught up to her, she could not handle them. That was not on me. I leaned back in my chair, closed my eyes, and let the sun hit my face. For the first time in a long time, I felt lighter. It has been 6 months since the divorce was finalized. 6 months since I signed those papers, walked out of that courthouse, and left as a free man. Now I am sitting in my living room on a Friday night, alone. The house is quiet, sometimes too quiet, but at least it is my quiet. No lies, no betrayal, no pretending everything is fine while someone is stabbing me in the back. I still think about Madison sometimes, not because I miss her. I do not. I think about her because sometimes I wonder if she ever really loved me at all, or if I was just convenient, a safe option, a man who helped pay the bills while she figured out what she truly wanted. I heard from other people that she moved to another city. She changed jobs. She cut contact with most of the people from her old life. Good. Honestly, she needed to. She burned every bridge she had here. There was nothing left for her to come back to. Some people think I went too far. A few mutual friends called me cruel. They said I did not have to humiliate her like that. They said I could have handled it privately. I do not care. Madison humiliated herself. All I did was make sure the right people saw the truth. And if I am being honest, I would do it again. Because the other option would have been worse. If I had confronted her in private, she would have lied. She would have cried. She would have twisted the story. She would have tried to make herself the victim while I looked like the jealous, unstable husband. That would have destroyed me even more than the affair did. This way, I controlled the story. I had the evidence. I had the truth. I had the power, at least for once. But power does not warm the empty side of the bed. It does not make a quiet house feel less lonely. I am not exactly bitter. I am just realistic now. I know trust may never come easily to me again. I know that if I ever date another woman, she will have to deal with the fact that I have been burned before. She will have to understand that I notice things now. I watch patterns. I listen for changes. I look for signs. Maybe that is not fair to her. But it is the truth of who I am now. I do not see myself as broken, just cautious, guarded, changed. I learned that love does not mean much when it is built on lies. I learned that partnership is worthless when one person is only pretending. And I learned that sometimes the only way to protect yourself is to burn the bridge before someone else gets the chance to shove you off it. Was it worth it? The live stream, the public shame, the revenge that left nothing standing. I still do not know. It did not make me happy. It did not magically bring me peace. But it gave me one thing I desperately needed: control. For those 23 minutes, I was not just the betrayed husband. I was not the fool standing in the dark while everyone else knew the joke. I was the one holding the cards. And when Madison came home that night crying, begging, and trying to manipulate me one last time, I finally got to say no. I got to close the door. And in a messed up way, that mattered. I am not proud of everything I did. But I am not ashamed either. I did what I had to do to survive what she did to me without losing the last of my dignity. Maybe that is all a person can ask for in the end. To walk away still standing, even if you are walking away alone. I finish my beer and set the bottle down on the coffee table. The TV is on, playing some action movie I have barely been paying attention to. My phone is lying beside me, screen dark. Nobody is texting. Nobody is calling. And for the first time in months, that does not bother me. Because the silence does not feel empty anymore. It feels clean. It feels honest. It feels like mine. I think about the future sometimes. Maybe I will date again. Maybe I will not. Maybe one day I will meet someone who makes me believe in love again. Or maybe I will just focus on myself for a while. My career, my health, my hobbies, my peace. Either way, I am done waiting for anyone else to give me permission to live. I am not asking for forgiveness. I am not begging for closure. The only closure I need now is the kind I give myself. The movie ends. I turn off the TV, and the room goes dark except for the faint glow of the streetlight outside. I stand up, stretch, and walk over to the window. The neighborhood is quiet. The street is empty. Somewhere out there, Madison is living with the consequences of her choices. And here, inside this house, I am living with mine. I do not know if I won. Honestly, I do not know if anyone really wins when a marriage ends. But I do know this. I did not lose myself. I did not let myself become the victim forever. I did not let her rewrite the story. And maybe, in the end, that is the only victory that matters. I turn away from the window, walk to the bedroom, and close the door behind me. Tomorrow, I will wake up. I will go to the gym. I will go to work. I will keep living my life. Because that is what you do when the war is over. You do not celebrate. You do not stand there mourning forever. You just keep moving. And that is exactly what I am going to do. I lie in bed, staring up at the ceiling in the dark. My breathing is steady. My mind is finally quiet. No regrets, no second guessing. Just one cold, simple truth. I survived. And sometimes, survival is enough.